Thank you.
Beautiful inside and out. That is for sure. That is for sure.
Oh, it's very sweet of you to say it. I'm very happy to be here. And
I'm so happy to have you here. Are you
I'm
kidding me?
I'm a fan of your series and what you're doing and your leadership and your passion and just how you inspire all of us. So thank you for
Oh,
all that you do.
oh, you're very sweet. Well, it makes it a lot more fun when I get to work with amazing people like you. So thank you so much for sharing your time. You know, what I love about this is that I get to introduce amazing people to the world, to my sphere and to my world, right? And part of the reason why, and Laura, you and I were just talking about this, you know, I just launched my podcast. Woo, this this weekend. I'm so excited. I've been talking about it forever. And I was thinking, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And what I realized, Laura, is that I already had so much great content from Playing to Win, right? And Playing to Win is this live stream every Wednesday, somebody's story, somebody doing something, and just getting to know people and the way people think. And I love sharing that because we're all different, right? We all get something out of it. And I realized, wow, there's so much great content in there. Why can't I make a second use of that? And hence, you know, the title is the second half with Melanie Kennemann. And the reason I did that is because number one, it's this, you know, I can use this for another thing, but it's really, you know, when you think of playing to win in any game, and Laura, you're a coach, and I really want to get into all that you do. I think it's so fascinating. But when you think of a game, and you know, the first half really matters because it sets you up for success, but you really win or lose the game in the second half.
I love sports analogies. I played volleyball in college. So yes, I'm there with you.
Volleyball player, that's right. Yes, I did not do college, but I'm a volleyball player. Exactly, right. And I grew up going to basketball games, Laker games with my dad. And you know, you really, you know, I know that it's Texas football is a big deal here, right? But it's if you look at any kind of sport analogies, right? It's like you really win or lose. You know, somebody that could be so far ahead in the first half and then just be sloppy. It happens. Excuse me. It happens again and again. That that team will come back.
Oh, sports is a great analogy for business because it's pretty cutthroat. You got to be prepared, you got to practice, do your role play, then show up for the game. There's momentum. Yeah, perfect analogy. I think that's spot on.
So it's going to be fun. So I look forward to our listeners from second half getting to experience you as well. So welcome to the show, Laura Ivy Blessing.
Thank you.
Well, let's introduce who are you? Let's share. What do you do? How long have you been? You know, I know you have your own team with Keller Williams. Tell us just kind of a little bit of who you are and what you do.
Well,
and I want to talk about your coaching too.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I'm so many different things, and thankfully have this great career and business that I created, and I learned so much from Keller Williams because I've been doing this for 16 years now. And I started off in commercial real estate.
Okay.
I was in a commercial office. Actually, I think that was 2006 or 7 where I first read MREA, and I was in the commercial office. And my broker at the time, I was like, oh, I've read this great book. And he wanted me to manage the agents in the office. I was like, well, I'm going to have everyone read this book and we're going to do this because this is going to work. And then just things happened, like Great Recession, and nothing was happening in commercial. And all of a sudden I am switching to residential, and they're giving that tax credit to buy a home. And I joined Michelle Busby when she was opening the Cedar Park office.
Oh, awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And I was really a commercial person going to residential. Okay. And that's not a lot of agents get that experience.
Exactly, because of what was happening with the economy, right? I mean, commercial really was like screeching halt, right? And so you said,
there was nothing over $1 million financing at that point for commercial, so it just stopped. But the residential thing, I was attempting to be a residential agent in a commercial office because I was handling like condo development and selling the condos in there, and knew the developer, working with him and updating him. But I looked up one day and I looked at my broker and I was like, I don't want to be you.
Yeah.
It's just that's not the mentor I want. And it was tough because I loved him dearly. So I had to step back, and then
Be him though. Big difference. You can love someone dearly, but if you're not working around somebody that you want to be more like, that's kind of tough. That's a really interesting that you're able to do that.
it's so true. Like, you have to look at who you want to be
Yeah.
and who's leading you, who's mentoring you, who's coaching you, because yeah, if you don't want to be them, you're not in the right place. And this guy was, had a lot of lawsuits happening. I was rezoning property with cities to put, commercial next to somebody's home. And it just didn't feel right. And it's all about how it feels. And then I came to Keller Williams, and that felt right,
Yeah.
because I love to learn. And here was all of this. I had already read MREA. I was already impressed with that book. And then I just like jumped into all the knowledge, because my strength finders thing is input. Like, I took it all in. I was online, I was watching all the videos. I couldn't get enough, and it was available, which was great, which is a strength of the company.
How did that transition go for you from commercial to residential?
Actually, it was pretty easy. I would say it took my database a little while to trust what I was doing, but yet I kept the message pretty consistent. And there were people doing residential transactions with me while I was in the commercial office.
Okay.
This just solidified, I'm going to change somebody's home, or help them, or change somebody's life with their home, and help them find their dream home.
Right.
And I just found my purpose in that.
I love that, which is so rewarding. And I think people underestimate the power and the honor and privilege that we have, right? When we get to represent buyers and sellers, what a big deal that is.
It's a huge deal. And I think that it took me a while to find that big why and that purpose, because we're seeing so much as salespeople, and I've been in sales forever. Yet we get to help people find what will be their best investment, most likely that they have, where they'll make the most money, yet also improve their quality of life in a big way. Yeah. And then all of their family and their friends too. And once I kind of, discovered that, and like really let that be in my business and who I am, just things took off.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now that way, and that was that, when did you make the leap to residential? What year was that? Was that 2008, or when was that?
2009.
2009. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So now you fast forward, and it's end of 2021 when we're recording this, right? Where are you at now with your business? What's it look like for you?
Okay. So now it's very exciting, because our goal this year was to hit 1 million in commission. So the book I read 10 years ago, where I was like, oh, 1 million in commission. Okay. That's a great idea.
10 years ago? 10 years ago.
I was like 10 years ago.
I love this though. I love it. It's never too early to plant that seed, right?
It's not. And it's been such a roller coaster ride. Like, throughout the years, didn't follow the model. I got a business partner. I split expenses. I grew. I was doing 100 transactions a year. And, I was on that trajectory, but not following the model. And I hired a MAPS coach, and I had to go back and just have it be my business and follow the model. Right. And that's been a long road. I did that in 2016.
Okay.
So,
and so many people, and just to just pause for a second. I think a lot of agents do that, right, Laura? I think that's very natural, because we're all some of us are highly creative, or we have a better way of doing it. And we don't necessarily always have the systems, and we don't follow the model. And the whole point of that is, when you add that to your life, and you're a living testament of that, it actually makes your life bigger, right? It actually makes your life bigger. It doesn't restrict you. And I think people resist it because they feel like it's a restricting, it's that discipline. It doesn't feel natural to them. Yet when they do it, and you did that, right? Then all of a sudden life gets bigger for you.
Yeah, you're right. And it is really just this steady, small shifts in growth and self-value and self-worth and confidence. Back when I was listed in the Wall Street Journal as being one of the top 1,000 teams in the nation. Nice. I was not happy at that point. I had a business partner. I wasn't making the money I wanted to make. Right. And I was like, well, this is just feels false. It doesn't feel authentic. And I don't care about being one of the top 1,000 teams in the nation. I care about my life, the money I have in my account, can I take care of my family? Can I take care of people? And so I had to like take 2 steps back before I could start moving forward again and follow the model. And
I
not,
love that, Laura. I love that. I love that though, because I feel like, I come from the film background, right? So where there is a lot of facade, right? And I see that in real estate, sadly. I see a lot of agents hide behind their numbers, and they hide behind, like you said, I'm top, top 100 teams, top 1,000 teams in the whole country. And yet I wasn't making money and I was miserable, right? And that's a lot of why I love to have conversations around this is you changed that, right? You were, and somebody would never think that about you because you always come across so calm and together and collected. And yet somebody like you found themselves in a partnership and not making the money that they should be making at that amount of production and saying, wait, I can't do this. I need to change something. So I love that you share that.
yeah, well, thank you. And it was a big pivotal moment, actually. I mean, because I think a lot of agents, even now, agents that I coach, we struggle with, can we do this on our own? We pull in someone to split expenses and it makes sense in our head that we're splitting expenses with someone, so we're going to make more. You add more people to the team and then you're managing people. And I don't like managing people. A lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be able to, do $1 million with 4 people on your team.
Right.
And that was always my goal. It was like me, another agent. Now I'm not in production as much, but so now we have another agent. But so
you have a rock star agent in there. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I have the best team ever.
Yeah, you have an amazing team. Talk about your team real quick, because I know Lauren's in here in the studio audience.
Lauren Cowan's the best. I was her agent 13 years ago when I was in the commercial office. She trusted me that much.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. And then she was in teaching, and she is like an outstanding agent and partner in this business. And she's helped me grow this, and she supports me so much now that I am stepping out to coach and consult more and writing classes and books and all these things. She's amazing and a great partner.
She's the kind of person that you really want to be in business with, right? Because she's really like a partner to you, right? And in a good way. She's really grown and earned the right for that. And yeah, I love that. I love that so much.
We take care of each other for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Great partnership. That's what we need I heard a quote yesterday from Cody Gibson. He said something, I'm looking for partners. I'm not looking for passengers.
Yeah, that's great. And it's true. It is, who do you want to be in business with? And I'm not saying like everyone that's been on the team has been, a perfect fit. I've had to practice unattachment and be like, people are going to come and go. They're going to learn things from me. And it's all perfect when they do. And I actually really love, Lauren already had some experience, but I taught her, kind of from ground zero, what I do and what I've done. And I love doing that. I have a passion for that.
I love that. And you have good administrative team. And then don't you have one other agent on the team as well? Or
yes, Crystal Hepler, Purdue. Sorry, Purdue is her actually her last name. And she's another teacher. I mean, teachers make great agents.
Do. I always say that. They do. Yeah, they make great agents.
And she's still teaching right now, but we have the team to help support her while she's teaching. And she works her tail off. I have a 21-year-old nephew that's getting licensed, and he's kind of our license assistant, going to run around things and deliver signs and do all the things that we really don't want to do.
Love that.
Isn't that key? Give up what you don't want to do as fast as you can.
That's great advice. Let's get back to that $1 million goal, because I think you were going somewhere with that. So you had $1 million, you 10 years ago, you said, you read a book and you said $1 million in commissions one year. I want to do that. So I think you were going somewhere with that. So I want to make sure we continue that path.
Yeah. I mean, I was just having a conversation with the team last week. I was saying we're so close. We actually need 25 units. We have 6 listings coming on. So we're close to hitting that goal this year.
Wow.
The price point went up, which is great. That helps us get there.
Yes.
And yet, last year we did close to 30 million, 70 units. We're doing less units this year, but more, which I still love. I'm not focused on the units as much, but we all want to hit this number. And I'm like, what can we do as a team? When we do, I'm like, I think I'm going to take everyone to Mexico.
fun.
we're going to party because you were talking about this the other day. We do this 12-week year. So we've
Yes.
done 2 12-week years this year.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Let's talk. What is that? Tell people, our listeners,
Yeah.
what is that?
You gave me this book, actually. This is from you. So
I would have thought Shannon gave you that book. So I feel kind of cool that I gave you that book.
you actually gave it to all of the ALC, remember?
Right. I do.
And then, I mean, the universe works in great ways. And then Shannon, I see her online. So Shannon Steer taught Bold.
She's amazing.
Amazing coach. And she had to get out of coaching. She couldn't be on a plane and traveling around. She had to restart her business. And in 2016, she and Michael and Byerly we had the same coach. So we ended up being role play partners for a year.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Role play partners with a Bold coach. Hello.
Talk about accountability and pressure, right? Exactly.
So we were on it every week.
I love it.
And I've watched her go from when she was doing that. She's a rock star. And now she's teaching, and she implemented the 12-week year. Now she teaches it. I have my team on it.
Right.
And what's so great about it is, like, I'm telling you, we're doing our third one. It's about to be fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
But we're only doing our third 12-week year, and we're going to accomplish our goals.
That's amazing.
So you might be able to do 1 or 2 and accomplish your goals. Who knows?
Exactly. And what that is, guys, it's like planning for the next 12 weeks instead of a year. Because now it's, and I don't know when the listeners will be listening to it, but today's the first day of fall, in our world. So happy first day of fall. Right around now is the time that people start thinking about business planning for next year, right? And sadly, people will do their plan and then they won't look at it probably, or they'll get right. They're just not really connected to their goals. And what what that book does is it really makes you focus more on a quarter at a time, right? And so it keeps you. What do you love about it, and why do you see such an impact? Because I think this is a perfect book suggestion for anybody that's listening, any time of year that you're listening to this.
Definitely. And it is by Brian Moran. What I love about it is, you're right. We do annual business plans, and I always did one. I mean, maybe not always. When I became serious about business and my goals, I did. And when you are, instead of putting your business plan in your drawer, not looking at it again, this has you focusing, reflecting, growing, pivoting, changing, course correcting, reflecting. Like, it's everything, all the growth pattern that you want to happen will happen faster.
Yeah.
But if you're on an annual plan, what happens? This guy found that most companies in their fourth quarter did most of the business because they had a deadline. So we've changed that, and we have a deadline when we set it. It's not on the quarter. You don't start at the beginning of the quarter. You start it when your team's ready or when you're ready. And then when you're done, you take time off and you celebrate and you reflect and you download what you did. And then what are you going to do differently? It's powerful.
That's awesome. To me, it's like more living in the moment, right? It just keeps you really much more focused on the now, right? Much more. It's like we talked about with our Bold coach. We have Scott Toombs, who's the director of Bold, who's teaching the next Bold. And he talked a lot about, mindset and activity. And those two need to be aligned, because a lot of us that do a lot of work, our mindset's pretty good, even though you need to keep working on it every day. If you've done a lot of work on yourself, your mindset probably knows what you need to do. But it's the activity where we could all score a little higher. And so what I love about that book is that it brings those together, right? It keeps you current in the now and conscious of your activity and your behavior. So that's pretty cool. I love that. I want to talk more about, there's other things you do too. Your coaching, you mentioned before we went live and started recording, you played competitive volleyball in college, huh?
Yes, I did.
I love it.
Full scholarship with Texas State. Actually, when I was there, it was Southwest Texas, but I say Texas State just to make me seem younger.
Well, that's how I knew which school you meant.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Because I've only been in Austin a decade. So anyway, yeah, that is so cool. I love that you had a full, so you have that competitive spirit already in you, right? And because as a disciplined athlete to play college level, you definitely have a different mindset and, activity than most people. But how does that lead you? Like, when did coaching get into your life? Like, because I know you coach people, and your coaching's a little bit goes more into kind of life. Could you tell us a little bit, like, how did you get into that, and what does that look like for you, and why do you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the desire for about 5 years to be a coach, but I've always been an athletic coach because I coach volleyball kids, 13, 14-year-olds for 10 years after college.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I love that. That's so cool.
And it's really, I mean, being a coach, even of kids 13 and 14-year-old, is all about getting people to be present and get past themselves and get past their limiting beliefs. It's the same thing over and over again. And just as you just unlift one veil at a time and have these like sometimes small but powerful shifts, life can be completely different.
Yeah.
And I experienced that. I have loved my coaches, and I've had different coaches. Like even right now, I have an emotional coach, I have a book writing coach, I have a financial coach. I definitely look for other successful people to help me get past my blocks, because we all have them, even coaches.
Yeah.
Even coaches have blocks.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, we all have our blind spots, right? And that's what I love about coaching, is they help you see that. Now, you just mentioned you have multiple coaches,
Oh yeah.
different things. And I think, I know Gary Keller talks about that a lot too, is having a coach for different things in your life. And I love that you do that. So like, what kind of coaching are you doing these days? Like, how would you describe the kind of coaching you're doing with people?
I would say, and there's an agent on here that I've coached for a couple of years, 3 years now, on and off. A lot of my coaching has to do with transformation and growth. Of course, there's business coaching and what should you be focusing on in your business to be more profitable, to have it be more efficient, to set up systems. But we really already know how to do a lot of those things. It's really not, it's always not the focus, because you know what to do. Everyone knows what to do, and why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
A lot of my coaching is more about mindset and why aren't you focusing on the right things, and where are you avoiding yourself, and why are you making the choices that you're making, and getting you to reflect and grow, and just, so you can be intrinsically motivated, not having to look outside yourself for another book or another seminar or another podcast to get you going in the morning. You actually wake up and you jump out of bed and you're like, this is what I want to do today. And this is how I want to feel today. And it takes a lot of work to get there, because we just have so much stuff that we've just put on us our whole lives, even from childhood. And I'm fascinated with that. And I love seeing people grow and break through.
I love that. And and that's so powerful, because if you can help somebody reframe the way they look at things, right? That usually what we say, the thing is that's holding people back is what's between their ears, right? It's the whatever from their childhood, or rejection, or this or this or this. And so I love transformational coaching. If you guys on the call haven't heard of that, it's a thing, and it's really cool, because a lot of times what's holding you back is something you don't even realize is the thing that's holding you back, right?
Do they still have that at MAPS?
They do. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because I've done MAPS, and I love MAPS as well. I did the coaching with MAPS, and I did a little bit of transformational. I remember this one moment with money where I was kind of complaining to my coach that I had to send a $20,000 check in for my quarterly, payment. And she's like, Laura, you get to send that check in. You don't have to. This is an amazing thing that you have done. You've made this money, and now you get to send that check in. And there's just like shifts like that just change people's perspective. And then they start being like, oh, they choose more powerful words, and they move powerfully through the world. And I love it.
So how much of your time, like, as now you said you're kind of shifting to doing more coaching, training. I know you have a book you're writing, you're working on material. How do you spend most of your time these days?
These days, I mean, it's a mix. I've talked to my team for the last 5 years about me letting go more, which has been a
Okay.
process of like passing on referrals and business because I'm still the rainmaker.
Okay.
Um, and I held on to listings so tight for a while, and I'm just starting to let go of them unless it's a really high maintenance person that just has to have me, which even then you can get past that belief and it's okay.
Right.
Yeah. But I would say it's a fun time for me because I am in creative mode and I'm coaching, I'm consulting, I'm creating and writing a class and a book and a class for new agents or agents that want to refresh their business and do their business in a way that is more authentic to them, that they find joy in and that they
Yeah.
want to wake up and do every day. And so I've been doing that for the last few months and enjoying it so much, more than I thought I
Oh,
would.
oh, I love it. And then when that book is published, we will have you back on, okay? And we'll talk about it.
That sounds great. Yes, it is.
Like, do you have a timeline, like when you want that to come out?
Uh, we're talking about probably in about 6 months, but
Oh, okay.
I'm in editor search at the moment. So I'm
Okay.
just in that phase and that's going to take a bit,
Oh,
but
yes, but within the next year, right? Within the
it's,
next year, you want that.
definitely within the
Yeah.
next year. And that's been a
Okay.
process, even like that's been on my bucket list. Like, hey, write a book. And you know what? It's not easy to sit down and be like, write your book
Yeah. Yeah.
every day. You have to really get past yourself and put your ego aside and be like, okay, this is what's coming out of me right now. This is what people need to learn.
Yeah.
It's not always easy. And I've actually really enjoyed the process.
I love that. That's so cool. I love because everyone has a story. And I feel like I love reading people's books that they write, whatever it is their passion. And a lot of people in my world have written books lately too. And so I love that you're doing that as well. I can't wait. I can't wait to read it because I can only imagine. Is it in the kind of the life coaching arena kind of thing, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, mental state stuff in it, but also if you're a new agent, you know, steps you can take that are consistent, that feel authentic to you. Like I built my business on things I love to do, which are throw parties and seminars on things that I'm curious about. And, you know, at one point I wanted to go taste all the tortilla soup in town. So I invited everyone with me. And that's how my business built, on things I love to do that I'm going to show up for no matter what. And what's really cool is other people showed up too.
I
And
love
like
that.
attracts like energy. And then
Yes.
you're working with the people that are just the best people that you want to work with.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so let me ask you this, Laura, what does playing to win look like for you?
Okay, playing to win for me is first of all being present and
Mhm.
catching myself when I'm in the past, I'm in the future, I'm in my head and not my heart.
Love
So, I mean, before we even jumped on this conversation, I meditated and I was like, three breaths to let go of the past, three to let go of the future. Let's be right here. Get out of your head because it's not about you. Secondly, playing to win is about being present and taking those steps that are intentional, that feel authentic, that bring you like a little inner sense of joy, even though it's tough and uncomfortable to do sometimes. And when you get past that little bit of resistance and you get into this flow area, you just surrender into what life is bringing you. That's playing to win for me.
That's playing to win big time, right? That's like having a big life. Like I get chills hearing you say that. I think that and maybe it's because the world that we live in right now, Laura, but there's just so much noise and people are always comparing their lives to everybody else's lives because now we have, Instagram, social media, you name it, TikTok, right? And we're so overstimulated and we're seeing, oh, this person's traveling, I'm not traveling, or this person just had this successful thing, I'm not having that. And I don't know if you see that in your coaching a lot, I would imagine that this whole what you just said is getting in alignment with yourself It's not about me. Letting go, let go of the ego, right? And just show up. What brings me joy? How am I going to show up today? When I wake up, I don't need to be bombarded by all of this noise, and just starting with quiet. And I notice when I'm too much on social media, or I'm too much whatever, and I'm not enough Melanie time, I get out of sync. And I think we all can agree with that. And when I say, you know what, I'm going to get more into action and less of that, I'm happier.
Right? It's true. I mean, you do more, you feel better. This is true.
And you do more, right?
Resistance feels terrible. I
Right.
mean, you could literally write a list of everything you're resisting in your life right now. Take the highest one that gives you the most anxiety, do the whole list, and your life will look different probably in a month or two.
Oh, and it's that simple, right? It's that simple.
And it's not.
And it's
Like,
not.
how can you get past yourself?
Right.
And I mean, a life-changing book that I've told a lot of people to read is called The Surrender Experiment. And I don't know, this is a book about a businessman, started off as a hippie, millionaire software producer. And the only thing he did was just honor that there's been 13 billion years of life happening that we have had nothing to do with. And so he just honored that and is like, I'm going to take whatever comes into my space. I'm not going to judge it good or bad. I'm going to honor it. I'm going to feel what I do to take care of it. And in every moment. And then life did more amazing things than he ever imagined. And it's a cool story.
I'm gonna have to get that one. It's the Surrender Experiment. I wrote that down. Have you read the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari? Have you read that one?
I have not, but I will read that one.
Okay, it's not as, it's more of a fun. It's kind of like the Traveler's Gift, what I gave you guys, right? Which is, it's more fable-heft, but it's all about somebody that was really focused on one thing and realized it wasn't about that, right? It wasn't about the cars and the this and the status symbol, and it was more about, it's funny, I don't know if it's an age thing or if it's a evolution of self, that it's this, we all looking for one thing, and that's joy and happiness and love in our life, right?
Right. We are. And I found in my journey, I was looking for it outside of myself so much. Like, I built this business more. I'm going to be a mega agent. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't like being at home with my kids. So I'm going to just like go out and work a lot.
Right.
And ignore that. Although I'm very much more present with my kids now, but like, life can feel kind of like a hamster wheel when you're searching outside of yourself. And I have that analogy a lot. And when it feels like a hamster wheel, I have to just stop and be like, the answer is not out there. It's not in another book. It is really connecting to yourself, getting out of your head, getting into your heart, and having a present moment about what you want to do next, because what you want to do next actually has nothing to do with you. It's just there for you.
Ooh, go deeper with that. I love that thought. Go deeper. Say that again.
I would say like it was just, I don't even know what I said.
Whatever's next for you isn't even about you. You said whatever's next for you, it's not about you, right? It's just there. It's just there for you. And I thought that was so powerful. I'll go back and listen. I'm gonna write, that's a quote.
No, but that's what flow is. And I remember 10 years ago reading a book about how to hack flow in business. And they're studying flow, like Navy SEALs study flow, extreme athletes study flow. And flow is this kind of magical, mysterious state where you kind of let your ego go and you're present and you lose time, or time speeds up. You kind of instinctively know what to do next. It's not like it's you knowing, it's more like a knowing.
Yeah.
And you can run a business that way. You can do anything that way.
Right.
So few of us are very present. We're on our phones. If you're on your phone scrolling, you're disconnected. You're out.
Yeah.
You want to get spiritual, you want to get into flow, you get into your heart, you do a little meditation, and then plan your day and act on it.
I love that. Because what you're moving from when you say flow is you're moving from a resisting all the time. And that's where, like, don't get the whole systems thing as resisting. We're not saying the systems and the discipline make life easier. And if those things that you have to be disciplined about or whatever are not things you're good at, and they stress you out, then find somebody else to do them. Like I think about agents who are really bad with paperwork. And so often, me too. Me too. It
Thank
is
you,
not my,
Diane.
yeah, exactly. You have a great team member that takes great care of that. And yet I have a lot of agents and I've worked with over my, 14 years of leading Keller Williams offices. They resist, and they're angry. And where's my check and this and that? And we're like, well, actually, no offense, guys, maybe it was something on your end that didn't get submitted. So we don't even know about it yet. Right. But so it builds this. I feel it. I feel the anger and I feel this. And so it's like, I'm so excited about now I'm feeling more of a flow through our systems, right? Just because of a change that I made. And I'm like, oh man, it's already feeling when you can just trust that though. And you have to, with that, you have to make sure you have the right systems in place to handle that. But again, that being present, I mean, think about when you go in a restaurant, Laura, right? We all know this. Everyone's on their phone.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's on their phone. They're not even being present at all with each other.
I remember when phones became computers, and this was over 10 years ago, and I was like, my brain is changing and I don't like it. I can't focus for as long.
Yep.
I actually started meditating then
Yeah.
so that I could just focus on something for longer than 5 minutes, actually. And
Yeah.
I'm worried about my kids. I'm like, hey, kids, go get on your iPads. I'll see you later. It's
Exactly.
we're all disconnected on our phones.
Right.
We're all missing out on this great opportunity, which is flow. And flow feels different. Like you said, flow, you can feel flow and you can feel resistance. And it's easy to get back into flow as you become more aware and you're connected. And life shouldn't be about force. Building your business actually shouldn't be a forceful push thing. We make it that way. It can be done with ease.
Yeah.
And, that's something Bold taught me. 5 times Bold. And I know it's coming up October
14th. Sign up, guys. We have a lot of cool things around there.
Yeah. I would say, what you focus on expands. And a lot of the affirmations in there are, I'm going to sell 100 homes with ease. And
Right.
I woke up at 6:30 a.m. with my affirmations partner and role play partner and said those for years until they just became part of my brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, I love that you brought up meditation too, Laura, because we haven't talked a lot about on the Plane to Win, but in the world that we are in today, like you said, when the iPhone came out or whatever thing changed, I remember too, now we had a computer with us all the time. Everything's you've got it with you all the time. You're never off. So our brains did change, right? We became, you need to be accessible at all times. Well, actually, no, then you had to create boundaries, right? So I think a lot of people struggle with meditation. And I know I did. I was one of those people that my brain moves so quickly, and I know I'm not alone in that, right? And so I actually needed something like Calm app or something that could like be a guided meditation. I started about 6 years ago. And just what got you into meditation, and why do you think that's important, and do you have any tips for people? Because I think that's a big, huge part of what everybody needs to be doing right now.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And my first experience with it, I read a book called The Now Habit. Neil Fiore, I think is his name. And actually the Audible version I keep downloaded, I have for 10 years, because he's teaching you about, it's a procrastination book, but at the same time, procrastination is resistance.
Yeah, it is.
And so when you're in resistance, you're not in flow. And once I learned to hack flow, to like kind of take this prefrontal cortex we have here, which is our ego, set it aside, not make it about me, get out of my head, get into your heart, you can do so much more. Because we just get in our own way. Your ego is designed to protect you from the pain of change, the pain of doing a task. And it's a great kind of older operating system, survival mechanism that can keep you from having the life that you want to live.
Yeah, and meditation kind of makes you deal with yourself, right? It makes you be like, take a breath. And then part of it is like, oh my gosh, I'm judging myself because I'm having thoughts, right? It's like, no, just acknowledge I'm having thoughts. Let it go. I'm having thoughts. Let it go. You're not judging yourself like, oh, I'm failing because I'm not meditating properly. It's not about that. It's about taking time to breathe and realign. You can meditate at any time. There's so many apps now, right? Like even on your iPhone or not your, yeah, your Apple Watch, you'll say, hey, time to breathe, right? And just breathe for 1 minute.
Yeah,
Like that,
right?
right?
Connect. And that's what it's reminding you to do.
Yeah.
And we're very disconnected. And I know there's a lot of spiritual and religious people out there. You're disconnected
Yeah.
because connected and spiritual is being present and being here.
Right.
You're on your phone, you're out.
I love it because it's like, let's sync up that body and breathing, because like I tend to be a shallow breather. And, because when I used to speak, I would get really, and people would be like, oh my God, they're catching their breath, because I would be so forced and want to get so much out. And
Yeah.
I've learned to breathe deeper through meditation. So just by meditating, it helps me, like my mindfulness has changed completely. I'm on my strengths finder, my number one used to be activator. So imagine, so anytime something happens, my cortisol is like, I'm going to save the day. Wonder Woman, here I
Yeah.
come, right?
Yeah.
Right? We all have that. Well, that's not always the best way to be, right? And so that breathing and, okay, well, let's process. I still get things done quickly. And I'm kind of known for the person, like, just ask Melanie, she'll get it done. I mean, part of me likes that. Part of me doesn't like that anymore, because it's like, well, once, okay, but not, I don't want to be pulled into everything either, because that's not where I'm in my best. So this breathing, though, has taught me mindfulness on also, like, think about all we do. Anybody that's listening to this that's in sales or anything where you're serving others, you're going to have rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're mindful and like, and you're like, you're at peace with who you are. I like myself. You have confidence. You have, a great affirmations that you go by. It changes that, and it takes that power away for when somebody says, no, I don't want to talk to you about real estate, or I don't want to talk to you about this. Okay. It's like, all right, great. Well, I'm here to, when you change the way you look at it all, your whole world opens up.
It does. And you're saying some really key things. And I think there's a lot of real estate agents, and I was one of these who was like a huge people pleaser, had a lot of anxiety, even though I looked very like put together on the outside. And at one point I'm like, I want my insides to match my outsides. And that takes some serious looking at yourself and what you fear and rejection and all of those things. Like, and it's not overnight. It's a very slow shift.
Yeah.
Like you said, and actually a lot of real estate agents are like this. We're very service oriented. We want to save the day. We, we'll take care of anything anyone ever asks. We have no boundaries whatsoever. Like, call me 24 hours a day. I'm available. And
Right.
then
3 in the morning, no problem, right?
yeah, you just burn yourself out and you're like, why do I do this? Like, what's going on? And I'm not even really make that much money, or I am, and I'm still not happy.
Right.
So transformational coaching is about
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Like, how to go inside, how to build self-worth and self-value and confidence through every little interaction, and build boundaries around yourself to protect your energy so that you can be the best person you can be.
Right. I had one of my MAPS coaches through the years. She had said that to me, because when I first moved to Austin, it took a lot of energy to, with Diane and I were relaunching the South location, and it took a lot. And, it was like that full, man, I felt it too. And I remember her saying one day, she's like, hey, Melanie, and my husband calls me Melly. So she said, it was just me and her. And she said, hey, Melly, let me just remind you of something. It's not about performance all the time when you're there. It's not about performance. It's about peak performance. So if you don't set your boundaries, and if you don't have that time to refuel yourself, how are you going to lead everybody else to do the same?
Mm-hmm.
And it was such an eye opener. And I've been good with boundaries with clients and all that. I do have good boundaries most of the time. And I've learned that. But what I really got from that was so true, right? You don't have to be on all the time. But when you're on, you need to be in alignment and be on. And when you're in alignment with yourself and you feel good about yourself and you feel like you're taking care of yourself, that's where the magic happens, right? That's really where the magic, and you're, like you mentioned, flow. You're really being your best version of you in the world.
Yeah. and you feel good, and that makes all
People
the
feel it.
difference.
People feel it.
People can feel how you feel on the inside, whether you know it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Now, let me open it up just real quick, see if anybody on our studio audience would like to ask a question, because we've had such great conversations. This has been so wonderful to feature you. You're such a wonderful person to have in our life. So just thank you for your time today. Love you, Laura. Hey,
I
anybody
feel
have
the
a
same about you.
question?
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. All right. Okay. We've got Taco Hoop on, or I love that. Who would like to ask a question before we wrap up this session with Laura today?
Donna McKay and you guys are sweet.
Oh, they're getting a lot in the chat here. Yeah.
Oh,
Very classy team for sure. So no questions from our audience at all? Last call.
I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And
Yeah. So then I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So I took most of the time anyway. So thank you for allowing me to, people just want to listen to you. What parting thought would you like to leave with everybody on just this whole, mindset around, playing to win, and then the second half, and how really people can live their fullest lives, right? That's the whole reason why I love to get these stories out, is never give up, right? No matter where you are in your life, you have an opportunity to change it if you don't like it. And that's why your conversation around transformational coaching and meditation are so key. What's the last parting thought you'd like to end on?
As I think about my journey through this business and getting close to hitting a milestone goal, it really was a ton of growth and awareness. When I started and I read MREA, I was in the more, I've got to do it. I'm just going to keep selling homes. I'm going to take over the market. And then I got to this place of self-awareness where I'm like, well, what's enough? And, how can I make conscious and intentional decisions about my finances? And that's how we started Wealth Building and Profit Share Group, because I wanted to focus on that more. But I'm really into what's enough now. And when I have extras, what do I want to do with that? And also, just, it's not about force. If you're forcing and you're pushing and it feels, there's an uncomfortable that is the right kind of uncomfortable where you're going to experience growth. And there's an uncomfortable where it's just pain and doesn't feel good. And there's two different feelings there. And I would go into the uncomfortable where there's growth, stay away from the painful stuff that just really doesn't feel right, and pay attention to how you feel. And that means more connecting to yourself, being aware, getting off your phone all the time, setting boundaries with your phone. I don't answer my phone or answer calls unless it's 12:30 or 4. And my clients know it and they love it.
I love that. I love that. Donna asked, have you already named your book? Do you have a name for it yet?
Not yet. It's kind of evolving. It was Real Estate Flow, and how to have more flow in your business and how to double your business with ease. And now it's becoming more like tactics and different things. So it's evolving, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about it as I get closer.
I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Laura, this has been an amazing session. Thank you to all our listeners and our studio audience here that's with us today. Laura, yay, you are a gift to the world, and just keep bringing your beautiful light into it. We need more people in the world like you, and it's just an honor to be in business with you.
Thank you. I feel the same about you. I am so excited about your podcast, and thank you for having me on. This has been amazing. I love this conversation as well.
We will have you back once that book is written. We will have you back and we will talk about it. Okay, sound good?
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great day.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
For joining us. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.